After 30 years of following the master, he discovered the master never existed. A revelation from Sufi mysticism that transformed a man's life. Centuries ago, in the mountains of Persia, there lived a man named Hakim. In his village, he was known as Hakim the Seeker, not for his wisdom, but for his desperate obsession. At 25, after losing his family in a devastating storm, Hakim developed a cruel escape from himself, chasing imaginary spiritual masters. He believed only a perfect teacher could heal his deep pain and give purpose to his empty existence. For 3 decades, Hakim wandered from village to village, always chasing a legendary master who had passed through just the week before. He abandoned his home, his friends, any chance of rebuilding his life. His savings ran dry, his body aged, his soul grew even emptier. He must be over the next mountain, he whispered to himself with desperate determination each new day. The search became his identity. Without it, Hakim didn't know who he was. He had become addicted to the hope that someone outside himself could resolve his inner suffering. At 55, exhausted and utterly broken, Hakim collapsed in a mountain cave. For the first time in 30 years, he lacked the strength to keep searching. In that absolute darkness, something extraordinary happened. He stopped running from himself. In the deep silence of the cave, Hakim began to hear something he had ignored for decades, his own inner voice. Slowly, like the rising sun, a revelation emerged. The master I was seeking was always here within me. Tears streamed down his weathered face as he understood the cruel irony. He had spent 30 years searching outside for what had always been available inside. Hakim emerged from the cave transformed. He returned to his hometown not as the seeker, but as a man who had found his own essence. He dedicated his final years to teaching a revolutionary truth that had taken him 30 years to learn. When young men came to him asking for a master, Hakim would look deeply into their eyes and say with serene wisdom, "My child, for 30 years I chased a ghost. I learned that all suffering comes from a single illusion, believing our wholeness lies somewhere else, in another time, in another person. The master you seek is not someone who will give you answers, but one who will teach you to ask the right questions of yourself." Hakim had understood the deepest Sufi wisdom. We are not incomplete beings searching for wholeness, but whole beings who have forgotten our own completeness. The journey is not about finding something lost, but remembering what never ceased to exist within us. Hakim's story confronts us with an uncomfortable truth many of us prefer to avoid. How often do we turn our pain into a desperate search for external validation? How often do we run from ourselves, hoping someone, somewhere, holds the magical key to our happiness? This channel grows not just through stories and reflections, but through each of your actions. When you subscribe, when you leave your like, the channel grows stronger, and the message that helped you can reach many others who also need it. Make a difference now. Subscribe, leave your like, and don't forget to check the pinned comment for more resources that can transform your life. We have a free mini ebook on how to apply ancient practices of silence and clarity in daily life, created for those who wish to cultivate this wisdom in real-life moments. We live in a culture that teaches us from an early age that we are incomplete. We need the perfect job, the ideal relationship, the inspiring mentor, the enlightened guru. But this endless pursuit of something outside ourselves is ultimately a sophisticated way of avoiding the responsibility of looking inward and doing the necessary inner work. Hakim's transformation didn't happen when he found the perfect master. It happened when he stopped searching. In the silence of that cave, he discovered that the peace he'd sought externally for 30 years had been patiently waiting within him all along. This is the great irony of the spiritual journey. The more we seek outside, the further we drift from what we already possess. I'm not saying mentors and guides aren't important. I'm saying they can only point the way. They can never walk it for us. True wisdom begins when we understand that we are both the seeker and the sought, both the student and the teacher. Perhaps it's time to stop outsourcing our happiness. Perhaps it's time to recognize that the answer we seek isn't in another place, but in another moment. The present moment, in the person we already are, in the life we already have. As Rumi said, what you seek is seeking you. The question remains, are you ready to stop running from yourself? Are you ready to discover that the master you seek may have been patiently waiting within you all along?